attacks on Islam, including Malcolm X, are not by accident, but by design. We are not surprised about this, because in recent times, it's become clear that there is a hidden hand behind the Dagger Squad. This mentally dead Negro and Uncle Tom has further assassinated the character of one of our greatest black leaders with Malcolm X. I cannot believe this informant, Garfield, has said that before Malcolm X became the man Malcolm X, he used to have sex with white men. And he also said that Malcolm X was a bisexual. Garfield is stating this and promoting this falsehood with no evidence, with no facts to back it up. What do we call black men like Garfield who is doing things like this to destroy black strong men and black strong leadership, whether they are dead or alive? Malcolm X, who is dead, has a powerful legacy that is still awakening the generations to come to knowledge of self and Islam, more than any other black man of this present generation, which is a threat to our enemy that is in position of power. And we have Garfield as one of their puppets working to destroy Malcolm X and his legacy by saying he had sex with white men and that he was a bisexual, which again is totally false.
There's also another book before that which explains his life when he was young. The book talked about how he oh man, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, but this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men allegedly, and then let his partners come in the house and rob the people.
So the problem is you're not talking about Malcolm X, you're talking about Malcolm Little.
Malcolm Little, that's the point. Okay. That's what I should have made clear. We're talking about Malcolm Little, not Malcolm X. And that's very important. So when somebody said, was Malcolm X a homosexual? No. Was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes. But this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. But this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. But this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. But this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. Was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes. Was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes. Was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes. Was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes.
The whole thing about if Malcolm X was a homosexual or gay or bisexual, I don't know. If somebody's bisexual, does that change? Or do they have like a rerun? I'm just curious. Because he was a bisexual in his early days, before the Nation of Islam. He was. He wasn't gay, he was a bisexual. And that's a fact. He would sleep with men to set them up to get robbed. That's what Malcolm does. He was a thief. He would set niggas up. So at the end of the day, he exhibited bisexual behavior. Was he under Elijah Muhammad a bisexual? I have no record of that. I can't say yes or no because I'm not in somebody's bedroom. I don't give a damn. That's his business.
We all know that the revised COINTEL program by the United States of America is designed to discredit Black leadership from their community and ultimately destroy Black organizations. And you have these Uncle Tom sellouts trying to destroy the legacy of one of our greatest Black leaders to walk this planet? Now we understand why he is trying to attack and undermine Islam with rhetoric, pseudo-logic, and twisting of the facts and historical data. Garfield interviewed Malcolm X's daughter, and this Uncle Tom, who called her father a bisexual and said he had sex with white men, had the nerve to say Black power.
Come to the Saneter TV Awards. See you there.
Black power. Thank you again, sis. 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 Black power. Thank you again, sis.
Notice in the interview, Garfield kept pressuring Malcolm X's daughter about if she has kids. This is none of your business, especially when her nephew got assassinated or killed by design. It was very clear that was an area that she did not want to address. They had no respect for Malcolm X's daughter.
One last question. A lot of people interview you, and they never ask you. I've never heard a question about you and your family, if you have children or anything. I'm not trying to break the conversation to something else, but I've never heard you speak about your family. And if you have children, what is your situation?
Well, what I can say is that my nephew, when we speak about all of these beautiful young people who were killed, that's what's called lynchings.
Right.
That they were murdered. That's lynching. My nephew Malcolm was lynched.
Right.
That he was killed in Mexico.
Right. Yes.
And what a beautiful, loving. I loved him so much, like he was mine.
Right.
It becomes a little painful, and you want to protect, your children.
All right, so you would consider, so basically, do you have children of your own?
Do you have children of your own? Do you have children of your own?
Do you have children of your own?
Do you have children of your own?
Do you have children of your own?
Do you have children of your own?
Do you have children of your own?
Do you have children of your own?
I'm sure if Malcolm X's daughter knew about how this platform promotes buffoonery, she would have never agreed to be interviewed by them, especially if she would have known that they are capable of slandering her father by calling him a bisexual and stating that he had sex with white men to destroy his legacy at the behest of their white slave master. Look at Garfield say, "The lineage of greatness. We love you, sister, and we love your family and the legacy that you are carrying on," while he shakes Malcolm X's daughter's hand. But yet, sometime after the interview, he goes on this same platform, much later, and slanders her father's name, his legacy, by calling him a bisexual and stating that he had sex with white
My father
men.
said, only a fool would allow his enemy to teach his children. So we have to make sure that we, educate our children ourselves.
Great answers. You are powerful. Wow, what a great family. This is a powerful, you're talking about the lineage here of greatness. And we love you, sis. We love your family and the legacy that you're carrying on. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're grateful. Your books are wonderful.
Thank you so much.
There's also another book before that, which explains his life when he was young. The book talked about how he, oh man, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, but this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men allegedly, and then let his partners come in the house and rob the people. Was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes.
Now,
Family, this is a powerful, you're talking about the lineage here of greatness. And we love you, sis.
We love your family and the legacy that you're carrying on.
But this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. Yeah, but this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. Yeah, but this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. Yeah, but this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. Was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes.
Now,
was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes.
Now,
was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes.
now,
Family, this is a powerful, you're talking about the lineage here of greatness. And we love you, sis. We love your family and the legacy that you're carrying on.
But this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. Yeah, but this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. Yeah, but this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. Yeah, but this was before Malcolm went to jail. He used to hustle white folks. He used to hustle white men. He would sleep with white men. Was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes.
now,
Was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes.
now,
Was Malcolm Little a bisexual? According to the history and what has been taught and told, yes.
now,
Look at Garfield say, "The lineage of greatness. We love you, sister, and we love your family and the legacy that you are carrying on," while he shakes Malcolm X's daughter's hand. But yet, sometime after the interview, he goes on this same platform much later and slanders her father's name, his legacy, by calling him a bisexual and stating that he had sex with white men.
You can't please these people. They said they ain't never gonna forget those who are silent. Damn it, we are never gonna forget those that sold our fathers into slavery. We'll never forget it. Never, never.
And Brother Garfield, on the other hand, has a tendency to attack everyone's information and then say, if you really want to find out how we can attain the truth, you must follow exclusively my work and the works of my peers, because everyone else outside of that are pseudos. Let me just say something. Not only does that not represent any morals and ethics coming out of Africa, but it doesn't represent any common sense coming from somebody, Brother Garfield's age 40 plus. When you attack every single black organization, when you attack their intellectual property, when you attack their spiritual system, when you attack their personal character, if I was to put a blindfold between my eyes or over my eyes where I can't actually see you, how would I differentiate you between the FBI, CIA, and COINTEL? Because you're doing the exact same thing that they're doing. It's the same thing I did to Brother Polite. It's the same thing that I said to Brother Polite. While it is fine and dandy to critique systems, while it is fine and dandy to update information, not to the point where we're trying to destroy, where we're trying to falsify information just because we want people to not follow someone. So we have to, at some instances, even lie in order to make others look bad. Then you become the CIA, who lied on Marcus Garvey, the FBI, which lied on Marcus Garvey, and were agents in seeing that he left America because of some lies. So when we need to go so far as tell a lie to do damage to people who are doing real work in the community, that's a problem in the community.
this Illuminati.
Look at his Masonic symbol on his banner. I'm talking about this Masonic crown that he put on his banner for his channel. We have been exposing this implant for the longest. There is no doubt that there is a hidden hand behind him, and this is the reason why much of his platform is designed to deter you away from true knowledge of self. This is the reason why Saneter is promoting slander on his platform, like how you have seen Garfield say that Malcolm X was a bisexual and that he had sex with white men with no evidence at all to back any of this up. Saneter could have edited this slander of Malcolm X out of his video, but he didn't because they have a hidden agenda to destroy the legacy of one of our greatest black leaders that we have ever had. The hidden forces that rule this government do not want the powerful legacy of Malcolm X to continue raising up the mentally and spiritually dead to life, to knowledge of self and Islam, so their puppets are doing their master's bidding by trying to destroy the legacy of Malcolm X. Do not support them. Look at this picture where Saneter put Happy Thanksgiving. Isn't this cute? And he is the first to say Black Power with his ankh on his hat. You are looking at a real picture. This picture is not photoshopped. Thanksgiving is a political holiday to cover up or water down the genocide the white man committed on the Native Indians, and our African ancestors were enslaved during this time as well. And as you can see, he is promoting Thanksgiving to our youth, our kids, and us. I have been telling you for the longest that these people are fake, so when you hear them say Black Power, just laugh at them and their buffoonery.
He's not teaching hate, he's teaching history. And since the American white man has used his control over the press and over the textbooks and over all forms of media to make it appear that he has done us a favor by bringing us here and enslaving us, then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has to rewrite history or retell history. And since the white man can't dispute this truth, he tries to defend himself by saying that Mr. Muhammad is teaching hate. It's not hate to say that we were kidnapped and brought here, it's truth. It's not hate to say that we were Jim Crow, discriminated and segregated, it's truth. It's not hate to say that the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in this country, came up with a hypocritical desegregation decision 9 years ago, which they haven't enforced yet. That's not hate, that's truth. In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough. And it is because of our effort toward getting straight to the root that people oftentimes think we're dealing in hate. We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you? And I, for one, as a Muslim, believe that the white man is intelligent enough. If he were made to realize how black people really feel and how fed up we are without that old compromise and sweet talk. Stop sweet talking him. Tell him how you feel. Tell him what kind of hell you've been catching, and let him know that if he's not ready to clean his house up, if he's not ready to clean his house up, he shouldn't have a house. It should catch on fire and burn down. Assalamu alaikum, all my brothers and sisters. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, to whom all praise is due, whom we forever thank for giving America's 20 million so-called Negroes the most honorable Elijah Muhammad as our beloved leader, teacher, and guide. And brothers and sisters, before I have anything whatsoever to say, I would like to have a very distinguished visitor, a couple who was visiting us this afternoon, stand and take a bow. The son and daughter-in-law of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mr. Herbert Muhammad, and his wife. Stand up, brother. Brother, human characteristics that we find missing in the so-called Negro communities today. And fifth, we want to then examine the other efforts and methods that have been used and are still being used in a futile effort to solve this problem. And last, we then want to offer and explain the solution that God has given to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is complete separation and immediate separation of the slave master and his slave. And as Muslims here in America, we regard the condition of the black man here as modern slavery. We don't look upon anything that was done by Lincoln and those people back there as having any effect upon the condition of freedom or enslavement that the black people experienced in those days and time. But first we would like to let you know who is this group that's always referred to as black Muslims. Actually, the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we don't call ourselves black Muslims as such. This is a name that was invented by a so-called Negro preacher named Reverend C. Eric Lincoln, who was a preacher, a Methodist preacher down in Atlanta, Georgia, whom the white man selected and sent to Boston University, where he did some research on the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad here in America. After Reverend Lincoln finished his study, he wrote a thesis, and after it was accepted, he was called a doctor. I guess he's a doctor of Muslimology,
And he developed his thesis into a book called The Black Muslims. And today the white man calls us the black Muslims, not because we are black people who are Muslims, but he tries to make it look like we are black Muslims, something distinct, separate, and apart from the Muslims in Africa and Asia. Because the number one tactic that the white man has always used when he wanted to suppress and oppress and exploit has been divide and conquer. So he tries to divide us from the Muslims abroad. He tries to divide us from our own people here in this country. His constant tactic or effort to create division and get at us has been a failure, thanks to Almighty God Allah. As Muslims, we are the same as the people who call themselves Muslim. We are Muslims because our religion is the religion of Islam. And there are 725 million people in the dark world, primarily in Africa and Asia, whose religion is the religion of Islam. 725 million people in the dark world who 5 times a day turn toward Mecca and bear witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is the apostle of Allah. In the language of our forefathers, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us, they say, Ashhadu la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Before you and I were brought, the white man didn't never want you to say. Now hold it again. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadan Rasulullah. Good. That means there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his apostle. And you will usually find the white man will call on or bear witness to any God but Allah. And he loves people who serves God except those who use the name Allah as the supreme being. And in saying this, we believe that there is one God who is the supreme being, the creator of the universe. Some of you call him Jehovah, others call him Christ. We who are Muslims call him Allah. We don't look upon Jesus as being God. It has only been since you were brought to America and brainwashed by the slave master that you have come to think that Jesus is God. And Jesus was crucified on the cross 2,000 years ago, 9,000 miles from here, and you can call on that Jesus the rest of your life, and the white man will continue to put his rope around your neck. But in the Bible, please, in the Bible, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that there is one God. He has one religion, and that he gave this one religion, the same religion, to all of his prophets. Which means Abraham was a Muslim, Lot was a Muslim, Noah was a Muslim, Moses was a Muslim, Daniel was a Muslim, Jesus was a Muslim. All were Muslims, all practiced the religion of Islam, and all were black men. None of them were white. You cannot name one prophet, please, you cannot name one prophet in the Bible that came from Europe. No prophet came from Europe. There is not a white man in his right mind. There is not a white man in his right mind who will try and say that any prophet ever came from Europe. The prophets all came from Africa and Asia. And they came from that part of Africa, that part of Asia that's connected with Africa. Never has a prophet been a white man. And this is one thing that you need to know before you can really have a love for the prophets and a love for the religion that was taught by the prophets and a love for the God who was represented by the prophets. And this is the purpose of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad being in America, to let the black people in America know the true religion that was taught by the prophets of old.
Quran, chapter 5, verse 3. This day those who disbelieve have given up all their hope of vanquishing your religion. So do not fear them, but fear me. Today I have completed your way of life, perfected my blessing upon you. And I have chosen Islam as the way of life for you.
Quran chapter 10, verse 18. They worship beside Allah idols and deities that possess no power to harm them or benefit them, and they say, "These are our intercessors with Allah." Say, are you informing Allah of something He does not know in the galactic heavens or on the planet Earth? Be He glorified. He is the Most High, far above of what they associate with Him. Quran chapter 10, verse 3. Indeed, your Lord is Allah, the one who created the galactic heavens and the planet Earth in 6 eons, then assumed all authority, governing all that exists. There is no intercessor except in accordance with His will. Such is Allah, your Lord. You shall worship Him. Would you not take heed? Quran chapter 13, verse 16. Say, who is the sustainer of the galactic heavens and the planet Earth? Say, Allah. Say, why then do you set up masters besides Him, who do not possess any power to benefit or harm even themselves? Say, is the blind equal to the seeing? Is darkness the same as the light? Have they found idols besides Allah who created creations similar to His creations, to the point of not distinguishing the two creations? Say, Allah is the creator of all things. He is the One, the Supreme.
Allah.